Hello and welcome. Today we're having a look at this Fazley Sunrise series Shore. It looks a bit like a beach. We're going to have a look at the specs, hear some tones, look at some alternatives in this price range and see if this could be a good option for you. Right, let's get to it. Here's the specs. The Fazley Sunrise series Shore. We have an Okume body with a flame maple top, which may or may not be a veneer, finished in high gloss with cream binding. This particular finish is called Blue Ocean Fade, finished off with a 4-ply white perloid pickguard. It weighs in at 7.1 pounds. The body thickness is a legit 44.5mm. It's an HSS pickup configuration, and the spec list is a bit confusing here. It says we have an Alnico humbucker and an Alnico single coil in the neck, but the middle pickup is listed as passive single coil. Usually on the back spec list, when it says passive, it means ceramic, but surely that wouldn't be the case. That would be weird. It's probably just a typo. The controls are 1 volume and 1 tone, a 5-way selector switch, and a mini toggle switch to coil split the humbucker. Nice! The hardware is listed as nickel plated, and it's rocking a nice Wilkinson WOV05 trem. We've got that great all-access neck heel carve again. I love this, it's one of my favourites. Bolt-on of course. The neck and fretboard are Canadian roasted maple, finished in satin gloss. It's a modern C-shape, 25.5 inch scale length, 12 inch radius, boo. Spoke wheel truss rod adjustment at the heel, yay! 22 medium jumbo frets, and a 42mm Graphtec Tusk XL nut, yay! And the all-important locking tuners, yay! It comes stock with the Dario EXL 120 9-42 gauge strings and includes a deluxe Fazley branded gig bag with 15mm of padding. The pickup readings are: the bridge is 16.4k, the bridge split is 8.33k, the middle and bridge 4.32k, the middle and bridge split is 3.44k, the middle is 5.8k, the middle and neck 2.88k, and the neck is 5.66k. Now here's some tones. Each pickup position, clean and dirty, going through the Line 6 HX Stomp XL direct into a Roland Go Mixer Pro X. The cleans are with a Fender twin style amp with a touch of reverb, and the dirty channel is 2 stacked overdrives, a TS9 type and an OCD type, with the same reverb applied as on the clean tones. Enjoy! So that's what it sounds like. I know it's hard to get a true representation of the sound through this medium, but what did you think? Did it sound good to you? I think it's got quite a good range of tones, quite versatile. This is the third Fazley that Bach sent me for review, and it is the most expensive one, but it's by far the best in terms of quality, parts and fit and finish. But to be totally honest, that wasn't too difficult, given that the two from the Sunset series, the Tortoise and the Sandshark, had a few issues between the both of them. And there's links to reviews for these two in the description. You can check them out after this one. Since then, Bachs have responded with a fix for one of the biggest issues. I made an update video about that, and there's a link to that in the description too. Okay, pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. There's more than a few. From top to bottom, we've got the locking tuners as standard. These are great. Nice smooth action, no need to upgrade, no complaints at all here. Graphtec Tusk XL nut as standard. This is my favourite nut. I usually go for the Graphtec nut and string 3-pack, and whenever I see them discounted, I usually stock up by buying a couple or a few sets. So you'd never need to upgrade this. It's perfect, and it's cut really well too. We've got the roasted maple neck. This is another favourite feature of mine, and it's got to the point now where it's almost a deal breaker for a new guitar to not have a roasted maple neck for me. I've always preferred the look, feel and tone. Yes, tone. Tonewood debate alert. Off you go in the comments. But yeah, I've always preferred the look, feel and tone of maple over rosewood. And for me, roasted maple is now my new preference over standard maple. Advertised stability claims aside, I just think it looks better. Pretty much as simple as that. Although I'm not as much of a fan of the really dark roasted maple necks. This one is the perfect shade for my preference, just a light roast. The neck and fretboard are two separate pieces, but they're matched really well. With the Sunset series ones that I tried, the difference in shade was much more dramatic. The fretboards were way darker, and they had black fret markers, which wasn't great for visibility. Didn't like that too much. This is way better. The neck shape carve profile is advertised as Modern C, and to my hands it feels identical to the Fender Player series or even the old Fender USA standards, which is pretty much my favourite neck profile, so feels great to me. The fret job on this is great, with no sharp fret ends or dead spots. I'm sure this would score quite highly on Phil McKnight's sock test. Another favourite feature, the truss rod spoke wheel adjustment access at the neck heel. Thank you. These days, this is the only place it should be. Are there any arguments against this? I'm yet to hear one. Let me know in the comments. State your case. I'm keen to know if there's any downsides to this. If they could feature this on the Sandshark and the Tortoise too, that would be awesome and would resolve a couple of the issues on those guitars. Although I'm aware it might make them a bit more expensive. Pickguard. Now, I'm usually quite critical about companies' pickguard choices, as I'm a renowned fashion expert around these parts. If you don't believe me, check out this video up here, all will be revealed. Anyway, this pickguard, I'm usually not a fan of white pearloid, but on this particular finish, I think it's the only choice, and it works really well. So, good on you Fazley, well done, keep up the good work! Pickups. The HSSS configuration is my favourite, and with the addition of the coil split, this is very close to my ideal switching. I'd probably change the tone pot to a push-push on-off switch for the neck pickup. Then it would be perfect. A bit like what I did to my Jet JS400. That's been upgraded to the max now, and you can check out a video on that up there. It's my current favourite guitar. The Wilkinson Trem Bridge. This is the WOV05 M series. Standalone, these usually cost about £30 to £35. It's a solid unit with a nice big block on it. No complaints here. The finish. I do like it. It's a wee bit on the fancy end, but it's different, and I like that. There's another finish available too. You can also get it in Red Ocean Fade, which is very much like the Fender Player Plus Tequila Sunrise. Although I think this Fazley is quite a bit nicer with the flame maple top. You can also get an HHT style version of this guitar called the Fazley Tide. That also comes in the Blue Ocean Fade and Red Ocean Fade, but instead of the flame maple top, it's more of a burl or quilt maple top. And if you want to see a great in-depth review of that guitar, then check out John Robson's channel. It's very good. Now for the cons. Please note, these are just personal preference and may not even be cons for you. And the same could be said about the pros too. And that rhymed, cause sometimes I'm a rapper. Let's talk about straps, Davey. Let's talk about the blues and greens. Let's talk about all the good ones and the bad ones that may be. Let's talk about... Okay, moving on. The string trees. These are a bit of a letdown. The butterfly style. Pretty much the worst ones you can get. But to be fair, it's the same one that the Fender Player series uses. And they're almost double the price. At least on these ones it has the little stopper to bring the height up a little bit, which you don't get on the Fender one. But with this, we're already getting the Graphtec Tusk XL nut. So can we not just go that wee bit further and get the string trees too? That would be perfect. The neck has a 12-inch radius. This is a bit of a bugbear for me on F-style guitars. I have a heavy preference for 9.5-inch radius. These days, it's pretty much a deal breaker for me. The pickups. These sound more than reasonable to me at this price point, but I'd probably want to change them to a lower output, more vintage spec set. It's just my preference. But at the price of this, you could still get something more suited to your taste for not too much cash overall. Or just leave them as is. I mean, they're not terrible. But aesthetically, I wish they would have went with a chrome or nickel cover on the humbucker, because the black, it kinda ruins the look a bit for me. The jack socket placement. Now on a more traditional Strat, I do prefer it here. It suits the vibe and look a bit better, even although it's probably best to have it on the side. But on this super Strat type guitar with a nice flame maple top finish, I don't like the jack socket on the front here messing up the look. And Fazley totally missed an opportunity here. Look, you could have had a wee boat here, on the water, heading back to the beach. Take note for next time. So that's all the cons. I mean, it's not really that much at all, is it? And mostly my personal preference. I think the pros far outweigh the cons here. Now, usually at this point in the video, I'd be looking at what the competition is at this price range, but instead, I'm going to go one further. In fact, I'm going to go two further, with two further videos. I've got this Jet JS450 here that we'll have to do a head-to-head with. It's impossible to avoid. It's very much in direct competition with this Fazley. They're pretty much the same price. And while we're at it, I should mention that both of these guitars are clearly heavily inspired by the now discontinued Ibanez AZ224F Premium. Check it out. So if you were ever looking for one of them on the cheap, here's a couple of options. Then, after the battle of the beach guitars, I'm going to do a four-way shootout with the following guitars which I believe to be the biggest competition in this price range. So it will be of course the Jet JS450, a Harley Benton Fusion 2, which isn't ideal as it's HSH and I've modded it, but we're just going to pretend that it's HSS and that it's a Fusion 3. That'll all be explained in the video. And finally the eArt Corsair NKC3. And if any of these upcoming videos sound interesting to you, that might even be a good excuse to subscribe to the channel, eh? And I have to apologise, it will take a wee while for these vids to come out, because I've got a load of half-baked, unfinished projects on the go at once that I need to get completed. So please be patient. Right, okay, so what did you think of this Fazley Sunrise Series Shore? Would you give one a go? Let me know in the comments. Or if you've had any experience with any Fazley guitars and what you think of them. Let me know. If you're still here and you've enjoyed the video, why not give it a wee like? Hit that wee like button.
A wee thumbs up.
Apparently it helps the channel. Okay, thanks for watching. Until next time, see you later!